One of the most unique floor plans built in the newest community in Georgetown, Texas, right here. In this video, I'm walking you through one of the most popular one-story plans built by Westin Homes. Now, if you're more interested in two-story plans, you love open concept homes, stick with me. I got a two-story plan. It's one of their newest floor plans that they just launched for sale at the time I'm recording this video. But first, this model home is the Lindy plan. This is a one-story plan that's over 2,800 square feet, has 4 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, and a 3-car garage. Now, what so many of my clients tell me they love about this plan is when you get out to the main living area, it feels so grand. And really, it's the cathedral style ceilings, it's the space that's in here, and it's also the upgrades. Take a look at that fireplace design that matches so much of the great design that's here in the kitchen. I also have an optional kitchen island. And what I'm really going to go through in this video are different options, right? So some of these homes are for sale that we're going to be touring in this video, but also some of them are just for representation purposes. So I'm going to walk you through a lot of the options that are in this plan, as well as the two-story plan we're touring after this. And then we'll talk all about the communities that we're touring in this video. By the way, my name is Raj Sahu. I'm a realtor in Austin, Texas, and I've represented clients with 21 different builders. So I'll give you the perspective of walking these homes with hundreds of people that are moving here. And that really starts here in the kitchen. The feedback that I get from people in the kitchen is they love the two-tone kitchen cabinets. Now, ceiling height is something that we'll continue to go back to because I think Westin does that so well, not only in their one-story plans, but wait until you see how tall the ceilings are in the two-story plans. But the two-tone kitchen cabinets really make the upgrades in this kitchen pop. And what my videographer is showing you here is this epic kitchen island. The size is massive. That's not a standard size. Right now they have that as an option just because a lot of people are asking for that option. They're saying, hey, can I get a kitchen island that's bigger? Because when I host parties, we do a lot of hosting around that kitchen island. Also, a lot of people want this. A kitchen backsplash going all the way up to the ceiling following a designer vent hood. And this has become very popular. Does come with quite the price tag. I won't quote exact pricing in this video for some of these options because they do vary on a monthly basis. But if you want pricing, I'll give you a home for sale after this to give you an idea of pricing. And because I'm actively making offers every week with different builders, I can also give you some insight on what pricing looks like for inventory homes versus to-be-builts. Now, if you don't know what inventory homes or to-be-builts mean, don't worry about it. I will definitely explain it later on in the video. I'll show you all the options that are there with builders. But I want you to first take this in, this view from the kitchen island, looking out into the main living area. This is where I think design and the structure of the home come together to make the space feel so grand. And we'll come back to that space in detail because so many people tell me they spend a lot of time in their main living area. And so many people tell me they want a big pantry, and they get very upset when builders have a cramped pantry. And you let me know what you think about this. I think when they do a pantry size in a U shape, and they have about 5 different shelves in here, that space feels much larger, especially for a 2,800 plus square foot home. But you tell me, is that big enough, or do you need more? I feel like everybody's always going to say they need more, but compared to other homes in the high 2,000s for square footage, I would say that was a fairly big pantry. So kudos for Westin for making that happen here, and also for making this happen. So we got a study that we're going to get to on the right side a little bit later, but I want to show you this fireplace design again because so many people are telling me they love doing a design around the fireplace. They don't really care about the fire. This is Texas, right? We're in Georgetown, Texas right now, and so not many people are worried about it getting too cold. But they love that fireplace as a design element. When that flame is crackling, even if it's electronic and it just is there for show, it just provides a great design piece. And so many people tell me they want to put tile going all the way up to the ceiling. In fact, I have a client that is closing on their home that they built from scratch at the end of this month, and they have a dark tile going all the way up along the fireplace to the top of the ceiling. They have 20-foot tall ceilings in their main living area, and they also have kitchen upgrades that look similar to this kitchen. They did dark cabinets on the bottom, light cabinets on the top, and I think it came out so well, because what happens is your eyes are forced to go up when you have those different design upgrades, and then the kitchen plays really well off the opposite wall, which is the fireplace, and that's when design really comes together to make this space feel amazing. And that continues here in the dining room, where they have this square table. It's an 8-seater table with that big square. They have a tray ceiling, which I think absolutely makes a difference in these spaces. And they even have room for built-in cabinetry right off of that dining room. Now, what I hear from a lot of my clients is they don't necessarily need a dedicated dining room that's private away from the main living area. They want it to be a part of the main living area, but they still want it to feel like it's its own unique space. I think they were able to accomplish that probably because of design, and also with that tray ceiling. I think it makes it feel like its own private space. And I think also being on the back of the home is something that I'm hearing so many people want. Just like they have this primary bedroom that looks off to the back of the home. And the reason is so many people want to back up to a greenbelt or privacy. They want to have a double tray ceiling like you see here, which makes this primary bedroom feel so spacious. But also looking out those windows, they want to see a view. They want to back up to a greenbelt, and they want to have that in spaces that they enjoy every day. And so if you can imagine this, every day you wake up, and in the morning, the sun's peeking in through the windows, you peel these curtains back, and you back up to a beautiful green belt or a view, and that's how you start your day. And then you go out to the kitchen, and you fire up a morning cup of coffee, and you go to the dining room that's off of that back of the home, and you have windows that look out into your backyard that look out to a greenbelt, and you enjoy your morning cup of coffee. And then you have dinner at sunset after a long day of work, and you're able to enjoy that sunset off the back of your home that looks out to a greenbelt. These are the things that people tell me they absolutely dream about having. And that's why I think so many people are moving to the Austin metro area, where we have greenbelt lots, we have topography, we have these beautiful hills, and I don't think that many people actually know that that exists here in the middle of Texas. And that's why I'm continuing to do these videos, because I want to show you it does exist. There's beautiful homes out here on amazing lots, and that's why I'm going to keep showing homes just like this one. And if you stick with me, later on in the video, I'm going to actually show you one of my clients' homes that's under contract, under construction, and they have an incredible view off the back of their home right here in Georgetown, Texas. Now, going back to the home, we are obviously in the primary bathroom. I love how they have this freestanding tub here, and then big vanities on either side. In the primary shower, you have the tile going all the way up to the ceiling, and you have some tile here that has some good movement in it. And if you notice, the floor that was on this bathroom is dark, and it pulls out those veins that are running through these tiles on each of the walls, both here as well as around the freestanding tub. I think that's a good design hack. These are things, by the way, I didn't know coming into real estate many years ago, but you just learn after going through so many different design studio appointments. I never thought I would be interested in design, but now that I've seen it come together, and I've seen dozens and dozens of my clients build from scratch, it's an amazing process. I actually love design now, and I love chatting about it, and I love analyzing it. I think it's fun to put together a design strategy. And you can probably tell by the way I talk, I'm more of an analytical thinker, and so I'm good at math. I put together Excel sheets, and that's when things make sense to me. And so I always looked at design as like an art and not something I was very interested in when I got into real estate. But now I've realized it's a lot of fun. And so that's why I always encourage people, if you want to buy a home that already exists, let's go for it. There are options, but you're going to compromise in certain areas. Whereas if you compare that to building from scratch, there's just less compromise. It's more work. You have more decisions to make. You tend to wait longer for the home because obviously it needs to be built, but you tend to get more of what you want. And I found that process to be very rewarding for some people who might be a little bit more flexible in their move-in time period. And we'll talk a little bit more about that later. I did want to tell you, we actually had 2 closets. Did you notice that? There's one closet that we went to that was huge, and this closet's also very big. Usually when you have 2 closets, one of them is a little bit smaller, and we all know who gets that closet. And I never really feel bad because that's me, right? I got the smaller closet in our house, but I don't have a lot of stuff, so it makes sense. But both of those closets were very large. Let me know what you think about that. If closet space is a big deal to you, I felt like that was definitely a good space. And also, I should notate that there are great third-party closet build-out companies. So a lot of builders will just put some shelves and a rod or something like that, but you can definitely get some great closet build-outs with companies after closing. If builders offer it, to be frank, it usually has quite a bit of a premium attached to it, and you can usually do better after closing. But if you ever have questions on that, you want to run pricing by me, let me know. We have great after closing contacts, and I've gotten so many quotes for so many different parts of a home for after closing compared to doing it with a builder. Now, moving on, we are in the backyard patio. As you can tell, this backyard patio is kind of extended right off of the dining room and living room. And then, for backyard size, this can really vary based on the phase, but sometimes the model homes have very different backyards. I would say this is more of what we see typically for most homes, but obviously don't quote me on that. It really depends on when you're seeing this video and the phase that they're in. Sometimes the phase can be on a street where the lots are much bigger and maybe there's it's backing up to a green belt or something like that, so they can elongate those lots. Sometimes they're a little bit tighter. It just really depends on the phase that they're in. But if you're looking for lots that back up to a view or a green belt, then you'll want to see lots like this. Now, it's not just the amenities that are already here in Nolina, it's also the beauty. And this is exactly why I traveled out to this community. This is one of the lots that we can build with Westin Homes. It's a good reason why I'm coming out to Nolina and will continue to come out here. It's beautiful and it has great amenities. Back to the video. Okay, so we talked about Nolina in that video, and that's the community that we're in. So this model home's built in Nolina. It's one of the newest communities in Georgetown, Texas, and there are great builders, and I've worked with all of them that are located in this community. Now, when I mentioned in that video, the amenities are already built out. That is one of the signs that I look for a community that is the developer willing to spend money up front. And for this developer, they did have past developments in different communities that were in Leander that I thought they did a great job in. And for this community, before even one of the homeowners was closed in this community that built their plan from scratch, they already had amenities ready to go so that when the first people were moved in, they were already able to access amenities. And I got to tell you, not many developers are willing to do that for their communities because it's a massive upfront cost to do that. But this developer was, and I'm really excited to continue to come out to this area. I think it's an interesting option if you're looking at homes in the Georgetown, Texas area. And when I say Georgetown, keep in mind, our suburbs are massive here in Texas. So, people are always like, is Georgetown better or is this other suburb better, like Leander or Liberty Hill? It's like, well, there are many different parts of that suburb, and you have to really analyze the details. And so I would tell you, the community that we're going to be touring later, Santa Rita Ranch, is just south of here. Westin's building both in Nolina, this community, and Santa Rita Ranch. And Santa Rita Ranch is just south of here, but it's in Liberty Hill, Texas. And if you look at Georgetown and Liberty Hill, they're kind of just east and west of each other. But it's funny, you go south of here and you're in Liberty Hill. You go a little bit more south of Santa Rita Ranch, you're in Leander, right? So it's these suburbs are, very big. And so I would always analyze the details of these places because where you buy is all about the details. And that's where you have to go into a deep analysis to really understand the pros and cons of these places. Now, the pros and cons the con of most one-story plans is it's usually missing a study, but in this plan, they have it. It's right off in the main living area. I love those freestanding shelves. I feel like a lot of builders are putting a lot of effort into their studies in terms of the backdrop, and it's probably because of what just happened over the last 3 to 4 years. Everybody's worried about their Zoom background, right? I know I am. I put some wood behind me and then I painted it. And I don't know if that was really necessary, but I guess I'm on Zoom a lot. I'm talking to a lot of my clients, most of them being out of state, a lot of them on the West Coast, like California and Seattle. And I do a lot of Zooms for that reason. And I always think it's funny when I see this amazing backdrop in a model home like you saw there in that study. Now, we just saw the powder bathroom, and then this plan has 4 bedrooms. We obviously already saw the primary bedroom. For this bedroom, this is one of the private bedrooms that has its own in-suite full bathroom that we're going to see here in a second. And so for a lot of one-story plans, sometimes they keep all the spare bedrooms right next to each other. It's like spare bedroom, spare bedroom, spare bedroom. They're all kind of congested into one area. This plan, I like how they have a study on one side with a couple other bedrooms that we're going to see later, and then this bedroom a little bit private with its own in-suite full bathroom. And then again, I got to go back to closet space. This is a fairly big closet compared to what we see with most homes in this square footage when we're talking about a closet and a spare bedroom. So let me know what you think about that closet space. And while we're here, and then we're going to head over to the other 2 bedrooms, I want to talk about this community called Nolina and compare it to the community of the next home that we're going to get to called Santa Rita Ranch. Now, the big differences between Nolina and Santa Rita Ranch is Nolina is a little bit further out. And when I say a little bit further out, there is a road that I would definitely pay attention to if you're looking at homes, especially new construction homes in the northwest corridor of the Austin metro area. That road is called Ronald Reagan Boulevard. Now, that road is also called Palmer Lane. It just depends on how north or south you get. It's the same road. It's just called something different in different areas. But that road is really important for a couple reasons. Number one, there's a lot of employment growth off of that road. If you take this road down south, a little bit closer to town, you're going to see that Apple is building their second headquarters 15 miles northwest of downtown Austin. And on that road, Palmer Lane, which again is Ronald Reagan Boulevard, it's the same road name, that's where Apple's building. And they built on a plot of land that is over 7,000 acres owned by one family. And I think they got about 330 acres based on an article that I read of Apple's announcement that they're building their second headquarters there. And why I think that's really important is if you look at a lot of the tech growth, it went to either that area like eBay, PayPal, Electronic Arts is also very close by to Apple's second headquarters. But also if you go a little bit more south of there, on that same road, Palmer Lane, you're going to run into around the Domain area, which is like our second downtown of Austin. It's located about 10 miles north of downtown Austin, and that's where there's more tech companies like Amazon, Microsoft's close by. There are other companies outside of tech that are there. I won't name all of them, but there's a lot of employment. And for a lot of people that are moving here and they're working at these tech jobs or they're working at these companies that are located in north or northwest part of Austin, they want new construction. They're usually looking around this corridor, right? Because they take this road up north from their work commute and they just find different communities. And that's the second part. Many communities were built along this Ronald Reagan Boulevard corridor, especially when Apple made their announcement around, I think it was like 2018, 2019. They announced that they were going to build their second headquarters there. And that's what started a lot of influx of people coming in. And then obviously the pandemic even sped that up further. The point is, if you look at parcels of land around Ronald Reagan Boulevard, now it's starting to thin out when you look south of 29. So 29 intersects Ronald Reagan Boulevard. It runs east and west. And if you look south of 29, the pieces of land around Ronald Reagan are fairly small that they're selling off. Like an example is there's another community called Bluffview Reserve that's right off of Ronald Reagan Boulevard. It's south of 29, but they're only building 82 homes there. Another example is south of even that community, even further south, there's a new community that opened up called Hidden Creek, $1 million plus homes, luxury home builder, 4,000 to 6,000 square feet. They made 40 sales in the first couple months of opening up. It actually backed up that builder at the design studio. I actually had somebody contract in another community with that same builder. They contracted in April. They didn't get to the design studio until end of August. 4 months later. And we were told that before we contracted that they were very backed up because they made so many sales in that community. And so that's in a market that was pulling back, right? Interest rates still relatively high, market's still very shaky, and people are very cautious. And people were piling into that community because there just isn't a whole lot of new construction options there. Now, a lot of the new construction options are north of 29. So just north of 29 is going to be the community that we're going to highlight next, called Santa Rita Ranch. I'm going to show you a 2-story home for sale there in a few minutes. And that community is very popular, but now even people are going north of Santa Rita Ranch into places like this Nolina. And there are numerous communities now popping up here, a couple that have been somewhat established, and the future growth of the northwest corridor of the Austin Metro is around this corridor, Ronald Reagan Boulevard, I would say around 183, and then I would say deeper into a neighboring suburb called Liberty Hill. And if you're confused with all the options, this is where I tell you, instead of going into these places and asking what's the best option for you, everyone is always going to be biased and sell their own community. And that's your job, right? You can't fault people for selling what they have in front of them. It's their community. That's not my job. My job is to represent my client's best interest and give you an unbiased perspective. And what that means is I don't work for any builders. I don't work for anybody but you. I work for people that are buying homes. I represent your interests, and I give you the pros and the cons of these different communities. I may not do that in a public facing video. That's where working together and having a client relationship makes sense. I also don't want to bash anybody and say cons that would burn bridges, which wouldn't help my clients. But my goal is to represent your interests and tell you all the facts that I think you should know before making a big decision of buying a home. And so I can give you a good idea of what that looks like for Nolina compared to the next community, Santa Rita Ranch. I'll give you a high level, but I want to first tell you that we just walked through quite a few bedrooms. We got 4 bedrooms, study. We actually had a 3-car tandem garage that I can't really show you, and this wide open main living area. So I want to get your thoughts on this plan. But if you're wondering, well, should I buy a 1-story plan or should we only look at 2-story plans? Before you answer that question, you should take a look at the Cameron plan. This is a new plan built by Westin Homes, and what my clients are telling me is they love the exterior elevation of these homes. I think Westin has done such a good job of making these feel very modern, very grand. The curb appeal definitely matters. I know some people don't want to focus on it in the beginning of their home search, but then they start to realize, hey, I want to drive up to a home that feels grand, and I want to walk into the front door, look up, and see ceilings like this. And this is what I think Westin does so well, especially on their 2-story plans with that circular ceiling design above a spiral staircase, and then just so many windows in the living room. And this combination is what I'm hearing from so many people is just feeling so grand. It feels like a luxury forever home. Now, this Cameron plan has 4 bedrooms, 3.5 bathrooms. It's just under 3,500 square feet, has a 2-car garage, and we're listed just under $798,000. So let's call it under $800,000. And what you see is what you get. So this wood look tile, which so many people tell me they love having in their main living area. It's very durable. It also aesthetically flows with the different design upgrades that are here. These are all things that are included, meaning this isn't a model home for representation purposes. This is the home that's for sale, and it's nearly finished. We're missing a microwave in the kitchen, as you can tell, but fairly typical towards the end of construction. Sometimes we're just waiting on appliances or they're back ordered or something like that. Now, what I like about above this 4-burner gas stovetop is the backsplash. They did a white grout to make a little bit more of an outline, almost like as a design piece on this kitchen backsplash, which follows the vent hood all the way up to the ceiling. And I think that grout color actually matches up really well with the countertops, and it matches up with how light and bright this kitchen is. But there's still a contrast. If you notice, the cabinet hardware is dark, the kitchen faucet's dark, the pendant lights above this kitchen island is dark, and the countertops have some dark veins running through it. And so I think the upgrades that are in this kitchen, along with the fireplace that's in that living room, it just provides that dark light contrast that I think a lot of people are looking for in their main living area. Now, we're going to keep going through this home in detail, and there's a lot to see here. Other than 4 bedrooms, we have a study downstairs, we have a game room and a media room upstairs, and also I want to show you the backyard so you get a good idea of what an actual home for sale the backyard would look like. And I'm even going to show you lots in this community that back up to greenery. So if you want a greenbelt lot, there are lots available at the time I'm recording this video with Westin that you could build in this community called Santa Rita Ranch. Now, let's look at the pantry, which I would say is a decent size for this square footage, but let me know what you think about this. And then this is a good look at that fireplace. And I was telling you about tile going all the way up to the ceiling. Sometimes for these inventory homes, builders don't want to put that in because if you don't like the tile, it becomes very polarizing of whether you love or hate it. And so is it possible to do after closing? I've seen it possible with many homes, and I've gotten it quoted quite a few times. So if you want pricing for what that looks like, let me know. But really what I want you to imagine is, imagine being on a couch here. You got the fireplace in front of you, great windows off your left shoulder, and then off your right shoulder, this epic entrance with this spiral staircase really becoming the focal point. And it's all about that circular ceiling design. It's such a great talking point when you enter this home, because when you look up at it, which you can't help but look up at it, it just feels so grand. Moving on, we have the breakfast nook area before we head outside. Keep in mind, this plan does have a separate dining room, which is very large, and it's actually through that opening where you see that dark light fixture. So we'll get to that a little bit later, but I like how they have windows surrounding this breakfast nook area just to bring in as much natural light as possible. And then you have the backyard here with a patio where we are backing up to privacy. There aren't neighbors directly backing up to this home, and that's because this backs up to Santa Rita Boulevard. So you might see some cars that run back there, but as you can tell, it's not like those cars are looking right into your living room. I think Santa Rita does a great job of still allowing for a little bit more privacy in these homes that back up to this road. In fact, I have a client who actually closed on their home. They built over 3,800 square feet. They're right down the street from here, and they're on a northeast facing lot that's a cul-de-sac, and they back up to Santa Rita Boulevard. They've been living in the home for a couple months, and they said they love it. They really don't mind. Like that car right there, it's a good indication of kind of what you see there. It's not like you're seeing like into the car. Like there's a good fencing, there's good privacy, and that's all about Santa Rita. The developer has certain restrictions on what you can do for fencing, and I think they do a great job making these lots feel very livable. And that's why you have a lot of people building forever homes on this street. I mean, a lot of homes on this street are anywhere from 3,000 to 4,000 square feet, and you have a lot of people buying these homes and staying in these homes long term. Now, I'll talk a little bit more about that in a few minutes, but first I want to focus in on this primary bedroom for two reasons. Number one, double tray ceiling. That looks amazing. I get so many people that say that provides that wow factor here, just providing that a little bit more a ceiling height. It just makes this space feel more grand. And I keep coming back to more grand because I get so many people that are like, oh, this feels like a luxury home. Why? It's like ceiling height and windows make a big difference. Now, as we head into the primary bedroom, one thing I actually want to go back to is all these windows off the back of the home. So you saw that in the primary bedroom, obviously in the living room that we went through. If you're asking, well, are there great greenbelt lots we can build with Westin in Santa Rita Ranch? Well, here's my answer. Now, if you're trying to figure out what lots look like here in Santa Rita Ranch, I'm standing on one of their newest greenbelt lots that's in their 60-foot wide section. So if you're interested in lots like this, text me on the number at the bottom of the description of this video. Back to the video. Okay, that was a great look at what the windows would be backing up to, and there are some great lots available right now. And I gotta tell you, this is something I've been following for years, to the point where down the street from this home, I had two people close that both backed up to greenbelt lots. They both built on 90-foot wide lots. They built about 4,000 to 5,000 square foot homes. I have somebody in the Santa Rita Ranch North section that looked out to a detention pond and had a great view off the back of their home. Had somebody else buy on the cliff in the 90-foot wide section in Santa Rita Ranch North. It's a 1,000-foot tall cliff, and then it looks out for miles and miles and miles, and they built a home from scratch with a builder. So these are the things that I'm following so much, because I find even in markets where there isn't a lot of movement with buyers, maybe interest rates are high, maybe there's something going on in the economy where people are not feeling that great about buying, when a new phase opens up, we still have demand for maybe just 2 or 3 lots that have a view. Because when it's only 2 or 3 lots and there's 10 people that want a view, guess what happens? People buy those very quickly. And there's a good example of that at the time I'm recording this video. There's a community with amazing hills, and they opened up a 60-foot wide lot section with about 25 lots, same lot size that this home can be built on. And by the way, this is the dining room that looks off the side of the home. But the 60-foot wide lots that opened up, there were 3 that had amazing views off the back of the lot, and they were the most expensive by far. There was a 6-figure amount for the lot premium, and guess which lot sold the fastest? It was the view lots, and that's exactly what I'm talking about. So if you like view lots, you like the idea of backing up to a greenbelt, you don't have to rush into every option, but I'll be the first one to tell you that I'm following these things constantly, and I'll tell you when I think you might want to be a little bit more motivated to move fast, or when you can take your time. And at the end of the day, my goal is just to educate you so you can make the best decisions possible. But I think it takes somebody who's really following these options to a T, and this is what I specialize in. This is why if you look at my YouTube channel, you look at various videos that I've done, this is all I do is pretty much new construction options, following new phases, and then newer types of homes that are resales. And I'll give you an idea of why I do that here in a second, but I want to hone in on what I think really matters here, which is the second bedroom downstairs with an in-suite full bathroom. Now, what we did not see, and I'll instruct my videographer to definitely get a good look at it, is there was a walk-in shower behind the commode there. And that is so important for so many of my clients that tell me that they want to have their parents staying with them on the first floor. They don't want them going up and down the steps. By the way, this is the utility room, which does have access to the second closet. There were two closets actually in that primary bathroom, and this is going to be one of them that I don't think we saw originally. And there is a door, so you don't have to take your dirty laundry through your home. You can just pop in through that door and you get into the utility room. But getting back to that second bedroom and bathroom, I'm finding it's really important, simply because for so many people, when they try to plan the next 5 to 10 years, a lot of people say, hey, my parents can go up and down the steps, it's completely fine. But then when they start planning the future, they ask, well, how long will that last? And that's not a really great thing to think about. I understand. I don't want to think about my parents not going up and down the steps one day. But when you're buying a forever home, it is something that you do want to plan for. And this is going to be access to the 2-car garage that's in this home. We looked at the powder bathroom, and you briefly saw in the reflection in the mirror my new videographer, Ronnie. I want to give him a shout out. He's doing a great job. And I also want to give out a shout out to my videographer that was with me for over a year. His name is Mark. He was actually licensed in real estate, and Mark started his own YouTube channel featuring properties in downtown Austin. He does a lot of condos in that area, and he's fantastic. So if you ever need help with downtown condos, reach out to me. I'd be happy to connect you with Mark. But if you want homes like this, if you work from home and you want a study that has very tall ceilings, that's exactly what this plan has. I don't know why they put carpet in here. I would have preferred maybe the wood look tile, but obviously that can be easy to rip out if you don't prefer it. Some people might say, hey, they don't want an echo in their study when they're on phone calls, and sometimes carpet could help. But what I always say to people that mention that is just put sound absorbing panels if you're worried about echo. I think a lot of people would prefer to have that same wood look tile in the main living area in there, but something that we could entertain after closing. And like I mentioned before, there are a lot of things that my clients entertain to do after closing, because if you can imagine, when you do buy a home, there's always going to be compromise somewhere. And if there's an easy way to solve that compromise after closing, I think it makes it all the better. Now, as we get upstairs, we're arriving at something that so many people tell me they want in their 2-story plan. So we saw that study with the tall ceilings, which is definitely unique. But upstairs, a game room and a media room is so important for a lot of people. A lot of people tell me, hey, they want their home to feel open concept. When you get to the top of the stairwell, they want to see windows everywhere, in the living room, in the front of the home. They want to see a ceiling design that draws your eyes up, but they also want a certain amount of rooms in their home to get privacy. And sometimes people feel like when the game room looks out to the living room, sometimes if you have TVs in both of those rooms, they can compete with each other. Or if you have kids playing upstairs in the game room and then you're trying to watch a ball game downstairs, or you're cooking and you just want some space, it's hard to get that. But that's why people put in a media room. And this is why I love Westin is showing in a lot of their homes that they build 2-story plans. They usually have a media room in a lot of their inventory homes that they build. Not all of them, but I would say most of them from what I've seen. And I love how they paint the walls dark, because in most cases, you're probably going to be in this room, later on at night, maybe we're watching a movie, maybe turning that area into like a theater experience, and darkening the room just makes it feel much more calm. Now, this also feels very calm. Like, take a look at the windows and the amount of natural light that's coming in. I think we missed putting on this chandelier light, but I think you don't even need it when there's this much natural light coming in, because you have so many windows. And I find a lot of people that reach out to me, this is really important to them. And it's usually because they work from home or they're on a hybrid with one of the big tech companies that are out there. And that's why so many people reach out to me that are in tech. They live in Seattle, they live in California, they want these open concept homes, and it's attractive, especially under $800,000. But they also want to be in Austin for the vibe, right? They want to be in a lifestyle city like this one. They want better weather, especially for a lot of my clients that reach out to me from Seattle. A lot of them tell me they don't want to do another winter. And don't get me wrong, Seattle's beautiful. I love the city. It's just so many people call me and I tell them, yeah, it's tough, not seeing the sun as much because it rains 6 months of the year. And they always correct me. They always say it's no, it's not 6 months. It's like more like 9 months out of the year. It's rainy and gray. And I get that. Here in Austin, we probably need more rain more than anything. Sometimes we go through a drought, but you can definitely enjoy the outdoor space so much more. And that also goes hand in hand with the community that we're in called Santa Rita Ranch. And Santa Rita Ranch was designed for getting people outside their house, enjoying the community that's here. And that means having a lot of amenities. They have 3 different amenity centers in the community. They're all massive. The last one that was built is on 8 acres, has 3 pools, has pickleball courts. But I think more importantly than that, it's because there are other communities that have amenity centers. This community is all about events. It's very lively. It's very active. There's always an event going on in the community, and it gets people out of their house, meeting their neighbors, and it really gives people that community feel. And I've had many clients close in this neighborhood, and a lot of them give me that feedback that they get that community vibe in Santa Rita Ranch. And I think for most people, that's really important. And while we're on it, with Santa Rita Ranch compared to Nolina, which we saw earlier, the fact of the matter is Santa Rita is just more established. They're going to be building 10,000 homes here, so they'll still have more homes in the future. But some of these parts of the neighborhood are definitely established. They have forever homes where people are staying here for quite a while. They also have, smaller homes that could turn into rentals, but I think there's a good mixture in this neighborhood, anywhere from 40-foot wide lots all the way up to 90-foot wide lots that I've seen. But Santa Rita is more established with schools that are on-site, amenities, and events, and that's the biggest difference. Now, if you are looking at new construction options, just know you can either build from scratch, which they usually call to-be-built options, or you can buy inventory homes that are already under construction like this one. Now, if you preferred a home similar to this, but you wanted the 5th bedroom, so I think I mentioned 5 bedrooms earlier, 3 bedrooms upstairs. There's only 2 bedrooms upstairs, obviously, which you could see, but there is a plan called the Carter plan that has 3 bedrooms upstairs and has a game room that's bigger than what you saw upstairs. So I'm going to show you how to access that right here. Now, what did you think of this Westin model home? I want to hear from you in the comments. Now, if you wanted to see homes for sale, go ahead and click on my website. It's at the top of the description of this video. And then if you want the unbiased perspective that I think so many buyers value when they're looking at all these different options, go ahead and reach out to me. Text me, call me, introduce yourself. My number's at the bottom of the description of this video. And then if you want to see that home built by Westin, go ahead and click right here. As always, hope this helps. Take care, everyone.